So just going through all of our presenters just quickly, Biswajit Kundu Roy, CEO of Coastr, will be first up, followed by Don Paul Dallywal, co-founder and CEO of Conigital. And then we've got Oliver Holland, Director of Standards and Systems at the Advanced Wireless Technology Group, or AWTG. But first up, Biswajit, let's hear from you and hear what Coastr's up to. Welcome.
Thank you, Dan. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yep, all good.
Fantastic. Let me try and share my screen. I do have a bit of a presentation, but we'll try and keep it short as much as possible. Is the screen visible just now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So first of all, thank you. And I've been listening to some of the presentation before this as well. So really insightful, some of the work being done around utilizing data. I think I just noticed the presentation before Sarah. I think there are lots of synergies specifically in how we are also utilizing data in Coastr, but more of that in a few minutes. So just to introduce Coastr, first of all, and before that, myself, I'm Biswajit Kundu Roy, I'm CEO and founder. Coastr is a mobility company based out of Edinburgh and with offices in Bangalore in India as well. We are about three and a half years old, rapidly growing, and our focus is on vehicle rentals and providing a technology innovation into the mobility sector, especially focusing on utilizing connected mobility and artificial intelligence in our approach. Before I go into a bit more further about the team, etc., that we do have a short video which might give out a bit more detail about who we are. So I'm going to just play this. Hopefully the audio is good enough.
If you wish you had access to better technology to manage and grow your business, you aren't alone. 90% of car rental companies struggle with complex, non-integrated technology that hinders efficiency and growth. For the first time, Coastr brings you an AI and telematics-powered technology to solve all your rental worries. Our mission is to transform the car rental business by making it automated and future-ready, and use seamlessly connected technologies and data-driven insights to digitize operations like never before. Our breakthrough is an all-in-one software that combines booking and fleet management, enables automation through IoT, reduces insurance costs by measuring driving patterns with AI support, and connects you to new customers through a user-friendly app. Our innovative car rental software is unique. It is cloud-based and can be accessed from anywhere. Its easy-to-navigate dashboard lets you be in control of your business in real time. The AI-powered software uses real-time data from telematics and market trends to manage vehicle scheduling and pricing in response to inventory changes and demand. This increases fleet utilization and maximizes revenue. You can now reduce your costs significantly through Coastr's cutting-edge technology. From reducing overheads with automated fleet scheduling, to avoiding breakdowns through our timely service and repair alerts, Coastr will help you make cost-effective decisions for fleet acquisition and inventory planning. Additionally, its OEM partnerships give you access to discounted vehicle acquisition solutions. Our advanced analytics will offer you real-time customer, vehicle, and business insights to let you make better decisions and be on top of your costs. Sit back and relax as our state-of-the-art security system protects your business against theft and breakdowns through vehicle immobilization, 24/7 vehicle tracking, and driver usage monitoring. Watch customer satisfaction levels spike with usage-based insurance that keeps you ahead of the competition. The Coastr SaaS platform helps reduce insurance costs by connecting you to insurance providers who utilize vehicle usage data for reduced premiums. Coastr is the only solution that prepares you for the future of car rentals.
I'll probably stop at that. It goes on for another 30 seconds. But hopefully that provides a good overview of what the Coastr technology is and effectively what we are trying to achieve. So going into a bit more detail about who we are and what our vision is. So Coastr, as I mentioned earlier, we are kind of a 3.5 years old company based out of Edinburgh. Our vision is really to drive more technology innovation into the car rental and mobility sector, and also create more access to SME market through this intermediation. And I'll talk about that important point in a few minutes. But more effectively, in terms of the product that we are building this platform as a ecosystem platform, which means we are not only building features and capability for our customers, the users, but also looking at partnerships that we can work with to really connect them into our platform. So the data and the functionality and the processes are end-to-end, and that ultimately leads to end-to-end digitization in the rental industry. In terms of the team that we have, it's a very well established and kind of dynamic team, and we are sort of distributed between the UK and India. So a part of the kind of sales, marketing, and product team is based out of the UK, whereas a lot of our technology and engineering and some of other operational teams are based out of Bangalore in India, which is housed and led by Rishabh. Lee is our head of sales and partnerships. Vishnu leads our product team, and Natasha our head of marketing. In addition, we also are supported by industry experts. So Neil, for example, is our car rental advisor. He used to be the former MD of Hertz UK. So almost 30 years of background and experience from the rental industry that he brings into the team, both from a product SME as well as a market and business strategy advisor. In addition, we have George and Michael, who are our two non-execs, again, helping to provide a lot of years of experience, both in technology and business strategy. Finally, to call out a few of our latest kind of, just to mention some of the achievements in the market. So one of the few things we are really proud of is we were featured in CBS News last year in November, where they did a piece of kind of interview with me and about Coastr, where we talked about our vision for the car rental industry and how the Coastr platform is going to shape up the mobility and innovation in this sector. So that has been a huge success in promoting and kind of helping us put our brand out there and our vision out there into the market. In addition, we have been receiving a lot of kind of recognition from the industry as well. But more importantly, in the interest of staying ahead in innovation, we have won a couple of R&D grants last year. One from Scottish Enterprise, which was a smart R&D grant to help us develop our on-demand usage-based insurance solution. And the other one was from Innovate UK, which was to deliver what we call as the contactless rental model, which utilizes connected cars or connected vehicles technology and mobile technology to deliver a kind of a fully contactless model for our users and customers. In addition, we are formulating a lot of partners already. As you can see on the right-hand side, we have partners starting from OEM partners to technology providers who could connect us or provide us with that connectivity to OEMs, to telematics partners, to payments, accountancy, and also some market partners like Nexus, who we are looking to work with on helping them really have a more in-depth aggregator model and better vehicle fulfillment for their customers. In addition, we are also working with Willis Towers Watson on currently developing our on-demand insurance solution for the rental industry. In terms of what we are really trying to achieve as a team is, and sometimes some of it goes back to my own experience as a user of car rentals, is some of the friction I've faced as an end user over the past few years has really resulted in kind of looking at why those are manifesting. And as we looked at in more detail, we realized that the innovation or kind of the technology landscape in the car rental industry has been very slow to speed up or utilize some of the advancements that are happening in terms of utilization of AI and IoT. Although some of the technology has been there forever, it's just been too fragmented and never been utilized. So one of the first things we did back in 2018 or 2019 was just went and spoke to a huge number of car rental operators, spent a whole lot of time trying to understand their business, understand their objectives, understand the data and processes. And on the back of that, we really kind of identified some of these huge issues, which were around high insurance cost, high fleet acquisition cost, but on a more operational level, lower fleet utilizations because a lot of things are done manually, and also the competition or big barriers to entry for the smaller SME market when it comes to competing against the big players. And obviously all of that kind of poor technology led to hugely inefficient manual operations where rental operators were spending up to 3 to 4 hours just doing vehicle checks or tracking payments or trying to make sure that their vehicles are roadworthy. And what we have done in the Coastr platform is just taken all of that information out of spreadsheets and multiple systems, put them on a single platform, and we utilize that to start creating automated processes or intelligent alerts, which saves valuable time for the operator so that they can focus on delivering a better customer experience. In addition, on the customer side, some of those result in like poor, clunky customer experience, limited choice, because again, it's very hard to spot the local car rental business. Typically, an average user will always go to the big players because they're easy to find. And then the industry suffers from lack of transparency around pricing, how insurance is so missold sometimes to them, and some long waiting queues, etc., because the whole process is not digitized enough. So on those aspects as well, the Coastr solution really helps even the smaller operators provide a digital experience to the customer through a combination of mobile technology, connected cars, technology like keyless entry, and obviously it's kind of the vast advancement of kind of analytics capability on our platform. So all that kind of leads to the two-sided digital car rental ecosystem platform, which is effectively what Coastr is. What we have delivered is an advancement on the current market offering. So a lot of our operators or customers today would use these technologies, in silos. They would have a booking and scheduling system. They would use telematics separately. They might use a accountancy platform to understand their cash and manage the cash, a very fragmented payment gateway, etc. What we have done in Coastr is not only we provide them, but we provide all of those features in a more connected, cohesive environment in a single one-stop shop platform. And in addition to that, what we have additionally brought features like using the data. We are working on our own on-demand data-driven fleet insurance, which looks at some of the driving and usage data from the telematics, but also a lot of the operational data from the system, which was previously in spreadsheets. And we start to bring them together. It creates a really holistic understanding of what the operator is trying to do. And at the same time, there's an element of proactive aspect to that as well, where using the same information we can help improve kind of the standards and best practices within the operator's process at the same time. In addition, again, one of the best things that our customers talk about is access to really innovative technology at a price which is in other cases would be very unachievable for them, because we are a software as a service platform. What we tend to do is using a very flat kind of type of pricing, we innovate on their behalf so that we are able to fix their technology cost. At the same time, we are constantly innovating on their behalf to provide things like biometric KYC, the keyless entry aspect, which I talked about earlier. And all of that kind of benefits the customer through improved fleet utilization, better risk management, where they can really understand and monitor vehicles as well as accidents, which I'll come to in a minute. And then cost reduction by improving their kind of maintenance of the fleet, but also reducing disputes by having a better damage reporting process. And in future, we are delivering the insurance solution into the market, which will then significantly aim to reduce their cost of insurance as well. Just a quick glimpse of how the AI and the IoT come together. So this is a quick snapshot of the Coastr's fleet dashboard, where we are just showing one vehicle here because it's the test data. But in effect, what you can see or imagine is this is where a operator can see all of their vehicle and really understand usage. So just to explain what you're seeing on the screen, this is a single vehicle.
Biswajit, you'll have to share your screen again. We lost it.
Oh, have you? Sorry. Let me try and do that. Is this viewable now?
Yep.
Cool. So I'll repeat some of that again for everyone's benefit. So this is a quick snapshot of the Coastr's fleet dashboard, which a lot of the operators use on a day-to-day basis to kind of understand and manage their fleet. So what you are seeing effectively is one vehicle, but obviously a lot of operators will have either hundreds or thousands of vehicles. But it starts to bring together kind of either on a fleet level or an individual vehicle, how they have been used over the past 24 hours. And I go back to some the kind of the last session where we are talking about with, I think Brian was talking about, monitoring usage, monitoring driving behavior. So this is how we look at usage and track usage through either the telematics in the vehicle, or as in some cases we also utilize the native kind of OEM APIs through one of our partners called Smart Car. And all of that data then starts to provide the operator real-time understanding of how their vehicles are being used. And you can see the immobilization button in there. That is a huge benefit or improvement in the car rental sector that we have built in, because from a risk management perspective, in fact, there have been several cases where we have worked with our customers and the police to actually prevent vehicle theft. And this is quite a unique feature, which is typically very less available in this market, but we have brought that in almost seamlessly in the hands of the customer, because now without any assistance, they can just look at what's going on in the vehicle. If they perceive a theft, they can actually immobilize the vehicle and help or go and retrieve that vehicle to avoid that costly insurance fine later on. So those are kind of the things we are utilizing the connected mobility platform for, or the technology for. In terms of the AI, the data then gets utilized for several other things, one of them being the insurance. And this is where our intelligent data-driven insurance is being built, where we look at not just the driving usage or the driver behavior and the vehicle usage, but also other information in the system, things like the booking data, and the customer demography information. Also, we look at vehicle servicing history, etc., claims history. All of that now we have it in one place, which allows Coastr to start to build insights, which would be important for insurance companies to provide more usage-based type of insurance. And that's kind of a huge game changer for this industry, because especially if you are from car rentals, especially you know that the insurance has been a huge barrier to even some of the smaller rental companies from growing, and it has been a huge cost burden in the past. So that's kind of some of the things we are working on. Now, going forward or looking forward, the three main things I would say Coastr is focused on are, one of them is sustainable mobility. So again, we have done all the hard work in digitizing processes, and we are looking at how we can help our users really adopt those, so that increasingly car rentals are notorious for use of paper or paper-based processes. We want to really drive 100% digital processes. That's our goal. And I think in the next kind of five to 6 years, we'll be able to get them to fully paperless processes. And the other one on the sustainable mobility side is the Eevee adoption, which is again a huge topic of discussions with our customers, because increasingly they're all asking for how do we migrate to EVs, not just to help with regulation, but also deliver more environmentally friendly vehicles. So we are actively working with them to not only help them understand how to migrate, but also help them with sourcing and financing of these. And that's part of our pledge to UN SME Climate Hub as well, that by 2050, we want to achieve net zero, not just for Coastr, but to help our customers achieve the same in their businesses. The other two aspects of our focus of our strategies are the connected mobility ecosystem, which I touched upon earlier a little bit, that we are always looking out for partners and how we can work with not just technology partners, but also other kind of industry partners on connecting with them, so that, again, the whole idea here is how can we make data flow ubiquitously across the ecosystem so it can help deliver better services. And some of these align to things like the goals of smart cities and sharing economy, which we are quite prepared to kind of work more actively towards in the future. And the final one is supporting local businesses, which is where our target customer or partner base is always on the SME local businesses. So we have as a strategy as a company, right from the outset, we had always established that our goal would be to work with the local car rental businesses to equip and enable them to become more competitive. And a lot of our focus and discussions goes on how we can help them become better businesses, but also help them grow and achieve, or overcome barriers to entry in this hugely competitive market. I'll stop there, as hopefully that provides a good overview of what Coastr is and some of the activities and technology or innovation we are working on, and open up to any questions as part of this session.
Yeah, we'll probably save questions till the end, Biswajit, but I have a number myself actually, so we might get to that. We'll go through the other speakers first, but hopefully you can hang around. I think there is a question or two in the chat. So in the meantime, maybe if you want to respond to that directly, but thank you very much. I mean, I know we've all had challenging car rental experiences, so hopefully make that experience a little bit smoother going forward. Definitely looking forward to it. So next up, we have Oliver Holland, Director of Standards and Systems at AWTG. This is definitely moving to the infrastructure side of things. So we're talking about connected vehicles, but there's obviously technology out there that enables all of this out there in the environment. So I believe we're going to be getting into the infrastructure side of things a little bit, understand about AWTG, and there's going to be some discussion, I believe, on what 5G holds for the connected vehicle. So thanks for coming along, Oliver. Over to you.
Thanks, Dan. So hopefully everyone can see me okay?
Yep.
And the slide sets. So I'm going to be basically implicitly covering several aspects of what AWTG is doing also within the connected vehicles area through a number of past projects, but strongly related to that is, of course, the kind of communication capabilities. And there's a number of projects that we're working on, particularly in Scotland, that could be very relevant to use cases that people might want to trial. So there are two aspects here of communications: 5G and Wi-Fi. So I'll give an overview of those first. So 5G is actually key to vehicular communications from a number of perspectives. So there's the issue of latency, which is vital to a number of use cases. Sorry, while I just manage the panel here. So 5G strives to achieve much lower latencies, which is vital for aspects such as the, for example, remote control of vehicles, inter-vehicle communications. Is another aspect there. Associated with that is also the aspects of reliability and the ability to basically guarantee the communication, the quality of the communication. There's much higher data rates supported by 5G. So we're talking the range of hundreds of megabits plus, and this is relevant to the ability for vehicles to exchange sensor information, LiDAR information, for example, but can also assist the streaming of information from vehicles. So akin to a lot of the stuff that Bryn was talking about for Formula One. As well as enhancements in support for mobility, there's and higher mobilities, again relevant to communications to Formula One. There's also far better performance at each given mobility. There's improvements in connection density, so a order of magnitude increase there. And this is relevant again in terms of the ability to communicate not just with vehicles, but with the various forms of roadside infrastructure, and within the even communication with specific sensors in vehicles. So there are a number of benefits that 5G has that make it again key to vehicular communications, and it is also becoming viable in the UK through the recent auction of the lower frequency spectrum, which is going to be vital to achieving the widespread coverage for 5G. And the remainder of the mid frequency spectrum, which will be vital to achieving the very high capacities for things like the video streaming from vehicles that I referred to previously. So 5G and cellular is becoming key to vehicular communications and becoming viable. Wi-Fi still is key. So IEEE 802.11p, which is the basis of the distributed short-range communications in the US and ITSG5 in the EU, communication protocols and stack between vehicles is basically being updated with a number of additional functionalities, and this is a key development from the Wi-Fi side. So it's going to support additional bands with very high data rates communicating between vehicles, double the throughput at least, and this is only at the lower frequency 5.9 gigahertz. Higher mobility, lower sensitivity, hence longer range. And positioning, and it will be backward compatible with 802.11p, so it's not going to invalidate the past work that has been done in ITSG5, for example, in the EU and UK. And it's also going to support interoperability and coexistence with the range of other systems. So this is, again, one way of emphasizing that Wi-Fi is going to remain key, particularly for the vehicle-to-vehicle communication aspects, but also others. So some scenarios for vehicular communications. I guess everyone on the call is familiar with a number of these, but of course there's communication with roadside infrastructure, for example, to adapt the timing of traffic lights based on the presence of vehicles. You don't want to waste a massive amount of energy by stopping a massive truck, for example, unnecessarily if there's no traffic, other traffic at the junction. You could change the traffic lights to green. There's a lot to be done on communication for charging optimization or energy optimization and energy efficiency. So the concept of prosumers and the ability to sorry, my daughter's just joined. I'm going to quickly do it. Okay, apologies for that. I'm trying to manage a family situation here.
All good.
But the yeah, so there's a lot to be done on basically managing the smart grid and infrastructure for charging vehicles, because there are vast energy demands of vehicles, and these are moving demands. So you can actually, for example, charge in a location where there's less demand, and theoretically, eventually, the cost of the electricity will be less, or at a time, for example, overnight, with economy 5 tariffs, and then share that that energy at locations you're going to be throughout the day. So you have the ability to actually become a prosumer and make some money potentially through this, but just in general manage the vast energy demand that there's going to be on the grid. There's of course communication between vehicles. So in a 5G and both the updates to Wi-Fi context, the ability to transfer sensor information, potentially even very high data LiDAR and video, other forms of sensor information to better manage collision avoidance, be able to see in front of the vehicle in front of you. Also for other uses such as platooning of vehicles to manage the air resistance drag in large convoys of transport, for example. Pedestrian avoidance, so communicating, particularly relevant on a 5G, in a 5G context where you'll have pretty much all pedestrians with some form of mobile connectivity. The ability to communicate between vehicles and pedestrians, likely through some kind of server to manage potential collisions that could happen, and for example alert pedestrians. There's in 5G in particular a very strong involvement of the edge cloud and the ability to bring processing and applications very close to the end user. And there's a lot of work ongoing on vehicular remote control linked to that as one possibility, and the storage of context data and processing of context data, for example, through AI, which might assist in managing the roadside infrastructure, for example, in being able to predict where and when vehicles are likely to manage the roadside infrastructure based on the traffic loads. And again, not have people waiting vast amounts of time at red lights when it's unnecessary. And of course, there are maintenance aspects, things like upgrades, software upgrades, and again, the vehicle-to-vehicle communication aspects can be, and improvements can be relevant also to that in terms of sharing such updates directly between the vehicles, as well as generally through the connectivity and the cloud. So AWTG is working extensively on a number of vehicular scenarios, communication aspects, but also use cases. So Millbrook Vehicle Proving Ground is an obvious example, which has progressed also to the Culham deployments. AWTG is also working very extensively as the deployment partner for a number of projects in Scotland. So one very prominent one is Dundee. And I've put this here just to highlight that we have very good coverage 5G network with a couple of base stations being deployed in the waterfront area, and that could be relevant to testing many of these capabilities. And it's designed such that there is line of sight from the base station to a vast number of locations. So again, it's going to be kind of at or close to the pinnacle of what 5G could achieve through these areas. We have also a large number of Wi-Fi access points being deployed, again, in the same coordinated system. And this is quite closely integrated, actually, with the transport system and infrastructure within Dundee. So there is definitely potential to look at and build on that for vehicular use cases. And another example that we're directly doing, as opposed to there are further ones as subcontractors, but another is just south of Dumfries at the Crichton site. So there is definitely opportunity here for potential low speed use cases to be investigated. So, for example, pedestrian avoidance or alerting pedestrians based on the presence of vehicles, etc. So both of these we would need to discuss in a lot more detail with the various clients if it was to be taken forward, respectively Dundee City Council and the Scotland 5G Centre. But to highlight that, again, there are opportunities out there linked to 5G particularly, and Wi-Fi in the context of Dundee as well. So that's all from my side. Any questions, or I guess they're at the end? Yeah,
we'll do. We may not even have time for questions, but Oliver, there is one very specific one, I guess. I think it's a question in the chat there, maybe if you want to jump onto that. But I mean, yeah, it sounds like are there any particular use cases that 5G is enabling that you're coming across that, the industry is becoming more interested in? Or are you still at the stage where we're still working out the standards and the implementations?
So again, one key one would be role of vehicles and the ability to, not just in terms of positioning vehicles, optimization of schedules, for example, in the case of taxis, autonomous taxis, and autonomous public transport, but the ability to actually receive for example, information on the impulses that vehicles are experiencing and adapt according to those. That's one very particular area. So we're talking about haptic kind of information, the forces that are experienced, potentially aspects such as the vibration, and that might indicate aspects such as the contact of tires with the road. So because of the low latency aspects, the very challenging requirements in terms of delay for being able to receive and react to such information can also apply in the vehicular context, and we are seeing that as a use case. So the other one, initially at least, given the initial kind of focus on 5G networks, is the vast capacities that 5G can achieve, and again the ability to convey sensor information. So things like LiDAR, the camera outputs from videos from cars. That's a couple of initial focus areas, I guess.
Yeah. So those are ones that we should be able to trial and test and do pilots on in these test beds in the near future.
Yeah. So the initial 5G deployment, including ours with the most prominent manufacturer, I probably shouldn't mention any names, but they're all focused on this very high data rate capability. So things like, again, the streaming from vehicles, between vehicles, it would be the main focus. The systems likely towards the end of this year are being upgraded to support better, ultra reliable, low latency communications. And that's where things like latency and the reliability aspects will become more prominent.
The safety use cases, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. That's great.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, if you can hang around for another 10-15 minutes and see if we don't gain any more questions towards after our next panelist. That'd be really good. Just a reminder, everyone, please make sure you put your questions in the chat box. Next up, we have Don Dallywell, CEO of Conigital. Welcome.
Hi, good to meet you, Dan.
Good. Again. Fantastic. Well, it's great to have you here. Yeah, please, it's over to you to tell us about what Conigital is up to and some of the exciting projects you've been working on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just give me a moment to share my
Sure.
screen. Share sound. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Slideshow from. Okay, awesome. Yep, so my name's Don. I'm the CEO and founder of Conigital. We're on a mission to digitally connect autonomous vehicles to empower mobility, accessible mobility for everyone. So before I tell you a bit more about Conigital, what we do, I always like to ask this question. How long do people think driverless vehicle technology has been around? I'll
give you an answer.
20 years, 50 years. No, you don't need to answer because I'm conscious of time as well.
Well, I'm going to say 30, so I don't know.
The answer has been 50. So it's been since the 1970s.
Look, no hands. And no driver for that matter. Scientists assure us that it's the shape of things to come in highway travel. This robot car is the latest project under study by the Road Research Laboratory. It's all done by computerized electronic impulses relayed to the car through a special receiving unit fixed to the front.
So that was TRL, and that was in the 1970s. Things have changed since then, and today we have to incorporate key megatrends such as 5G connectivity, a move to zero carbon emissions, and transport moving towards mobility as a service. And this is where we are today with Conigital. So Conigital, we were formed in 2015. We're a driverless vehicle and intelligent mobility company. We are a growing international team of about 30, and we've invested over 5 million building our software platforms for both on-road and off-road driverless vehicle and fleet asset management solutions. We've developed a lift and shift software to automate any vehicle type, and we provide a platform for transport and mobility operators to run on-demand app-based transport services such as ride-hailing and rideshare, all encompassed as part of a mobility as a service offering. We've delivered flagship driverless vehicle projects, including automating the UK's first autonomous airport bus at Southampton Airport in partnership with Ferrovial. You can see the bus there in the picture, and launching we're about to launch an on-demand ride-hailing service in Australia for Transport for New South Wales with the Ford Ranger that you can see in the vehicle. Sorry, in the slide. Our AV and mobility platforms are ready to be deployed in real-world trials, and this is going to be our main ask today. To partner or work with us to deploy AVs in on-road and or off-road environments in Scotland, and to be part of that 62 billion CAV market opportunity in the UK alone. So we've seen that transport and mobility operators have huge challenges ahead of them, improving our journey whilst going zero emissions, zero accidents, and zero congestion. They need effective solutions to improve passenger journeys and address first and last mile congestion. And this is partly caused by ride-hailing companies who don't operate as fleets and therefore actually increase traffic by approximately 14% on our roads. They have to address how we transition from diesel petrol vehicles and do all of this with limited budgets, a pandemic to deal with, and traffic back on the rise. So Conigital accelerates, our platform accelerates the introduction and integration of accessible, autonomous, connected, electric and shared vehicles, known as ACEs, into the existing transport networks through affordable vehicle autonomy and a seamless journey experience for the consumer as part of a wider mobility as a service offering. Our solution consists of 3 key pillars. ConAV is our affordable retrofit vehicle automation system, ConOp, our next generation asset management platform, and ConApp, our customer-facing mobility as a service application. All of our products are further supported by our AI-based concierge, Connie or David, and our multi-objective optimization services to provide a complete, holistic and end-to-end integrated transport service for our clients. So mobility as a service is a very complicated ecosystem. Our patent pending algorithms help us to enable seamless travel experiences between different modes of public and private transport and connected services. We can enable any mobility operator or transport hub, like an airport, for example, to offer a full range of seamless and digitally connected experiences for their customers, generating additional revenue streams through add-on services that they can provide via our white labeled mobility app, all whilst ensuring a better journey experience for their customers. So whilst in transit, our multi-language interactive concierge is able to generate special offers, travel updates, onward traveling and infotainment and e-commerce services to build a local marketplace. Although currently impacted by COVID, just to give you an idea, in 2019, duty free earned Heathrow £280 million, with the average customer spend being £8.75. So we've spent the last 4 years and circa 5 million all building out our platforms through collaborative flagship driverless vehicle projects worth nearly £17 million with end customers. Our early projects have all been collaborative and supported by both Innovate UK and CCAV, without whom we wouldn't even be here today. In addition to grant funding, we've also secured commercial projects, which has allowed us to further develop our platforms. I'm going to talk about those couple of those projects. So Project South is our autonomous bus that we trialed with at Southampton Airport, which is part of the AGS group. We did this in partnership with Ferrovial, who are also part owners. We automated the bus to travel from the long stay car park to the terminal building. And this project was heavily impacted by COVID. Although one of the biggest challenges we had was to actually get insurance in place to actually do the trial, since no insurer had ever insured a bus before in the UK. Following a lot of back and forth on the safety case, we were pleased that we finally successfully delivered this project earlier this year, and we're keen to source new projects involving larger vehicle carrying capacity and ensuring that these are also COVID safe. Another project is Project Ute. This is our Australian project that provides on-demand utility vehicle, the Ford Ranger you can see, for rideshare services in a place called Dubbo in Australia. We're moving passengers from the airport to Dubbo Zoo, the business districts, and the train stations. In addition, a major problem found in Australia is kangaroo collisions. And there's up to about 16,000 incidents which take place a year. So as part of this project, as a world first, we're developing a system called KADAS, Kangaroo Active Detection Avoidance Response System. I'm going to show you a very quick video about this particular project.
You've all heard about driverless cars. Well, make room on our country roads for driverless utes. As early as June next year, the world's first automated ute will be zooming its way around Dubbo.
This is about road safety, and it's also about bringing automation to country people.
The ute will be fitted with the latest crash test technology so that scenarios like this will be a thing of the past.
Ruse strikes, they lead to fatalities and serious injuries each year. Last year there was around 16,000 crashes involving collisions with roos. So this kind of technology will mean there won't be crashes with kangaroos into the future.
Currently, there's no technology that tests the unpredictability of kangaroos, so this is a world first.
We've got a
So that's just, hopefully I've given you a flavour of what we're up to and some of the things that we're doing. And what we're really keen to do is work with partners and try and do more trials, real world trials, with some of the following use cases that can be seen in the slides. Just to summarise, we're ready to deploy our solutions in both on and off-road real world trials in the use cases as above, on the slides, and are actively looking for partners or end customers to work with on pilots, which also include remote teleoperation using 5G. This is a key piece of our product roadmap to deal with those corner cases that the AI is not quite ready for. So if you wish to work or partner with us, please reach out to me by email, LinkedIn, or by phone, or via Dan, and I would be happy to speak to you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Don. I can personally confirm that the Roo challenge is real. It might be unique to a particular country, but yeah, it's definitely one out there. But I know there are equivalents everywhere, and here in Scotland, I guess it's probably deers. So yeah, every country has its challenge in this area. And I mean, these animals move very differently to humans, so it takes a different set of, or different application of the AI in these cases. Yeah, really exciting. Thank you very much for coming along. We might have a couple of minutes for questions. I don't know if Biswajit, if you can join us again just briefly. I know Oliver had to step away yeah, for another call, but I'm sure he's happy to answer another question. So for Coastr, I guess I had a question. So what is the relationship between your product and sort of car share? Because the line between car rental and car sharing seems to be a very gray one, and kind of I've got a follow up to that one as well, but it's probably worth exploring a little bit. I mean, can your system be applied to car sharing as well? Unmute, sorry.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that's what the whole mobility ecosystem is also going or moving towards, right? Which is consumers now want more choice and flexibility, and car sharing, subscription-based models, flexible leasing, rentals, these are all almost going towards that direction of offering that kind of flexibility to customers. Now, the biggest challenge in the rental industry in the past has been access, or for an end user to go and find a variety of car rental operators with that kind of flexibility in model, and also have a kind of digital way of getting to those rentals. which is where car sharing have made it much more accessible, because they're parked all over town, and using your keyless entry or your mobile app, you can pretty much access them. So I think the point I'm trying to make is car sharing is no different to rental. It's just a different way of renting out your vehicle. In fact, the numbers actually say that the utilization of car sharing platforms are 50% less than car rentals. So the vehicles are even less utilized. In theory, the Coastr platform can support car sharing businesses, because that's how it's geared up. We can work with any type of rental operators, who can rent out from hourly rentals, which is effectively car sharing businesses, to long-term rentals in one single platform.
Great. So just thinking about your platform a little bit more, it occurs to me that it has the potential to enable anyone to sort of add their vehicle to a fleet to be shared. Is that kind of a valid future scenario where if, I want to invest in 3 electric cars and I want to put them to work while I'm at work, can I submit, make them rental cars?
I think I want to make the distinction between what we support. Like there are lots of companies like Turo, Drivy, or Getaron in this case, who are what they call themselves as the peer-to-peer car rental businesses, or the Airbnbs of car rentals, to be more appropriate. Now, the Coastr platform is more geared up towards fleet operators. So if you have at least a minimum set of vehicles, then it becomes more economical for you. But theoretically, if you just have one fleet, you can use it. But I don't know how economical it is going to be. But in future, we are looking at our own solution as well. So where we can aggregate on the network, and we can offer mobility solutions to different types of requirements, starting from corporate users to retail customers, or work with aggregators as well. So the possibilities are endless. Technology can support, and one of the things we do want to encourage in future is how we can help enable new fleet operators or new car rental startups to come and build and grow with us. And that's absolutely a big area of focus for us.
Fantastic. Yeah, sorry, we have really run out of time. Don, I didn't see any questions come up just yet. No, so sorry, just checking in there.
No, that's fine. I'm around.
Yeah. No, but it sounded like your particular ask was, looking for the next place to basically deploy your technology, wherever that may be.
I think from some of the other presenters, there's some clear options.
Yeah, there's definitely some synergies there. So thank you very much, both of you, for coming along today.